Welcome to the trash can that is what is left of one of my offices right before I finish moving out and clean all this crap up. I felt compelled to make this video because, frankly, I was brought up in a society that was very optimistic. You know, the whole Fruitiger Arrow world. I'm sorry, I still have bronchitis, so here goes the coughing again. Yep, I have died. But I grew up in this optimistic society. It was like, why can't we all just get along? Why can't we all have peace? You know, why can't we make the world a better place? Blah, 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 blah. You know, everybody deserves equal rights. Everybody deserves, you know, to be healthy and have food and water and shelter, blah, blah, blah. Let's work towards these ideals. And it was ingrained from a very young age that these are ideals that we really want everybody in the world, if possible, to have. And as I've grown up, I've gotten more realistic. I've also gone through the transition from the Fruitiger Arrow world of all this optimistic growth to the hole that we currently live in, the Windows 8 flat design world. The trash fire that is now. Thanks largely to the what used to be called social justice warriors and then the woke and so on. They're really just useful idiots for a certain side of the political spectrum. But here's the problem. And the reason I'm making this video, and it's going to have a real spicy title. The problem is that if we look at the science, or even if we just look at enough videos on the internet, to be completely frank, all of our problems are caused by a certain group of people. And that group of people is women. Not all women, of course, but most of our problems stem from these useful idiot, extremely politically active and activist women that go out of their way to cause as many problems as possible with this notion that it's compassionate or whatever. And you can trace almost all of our problems back to, especially if you want to get down to some subsets, the affluent liberal white woman is by far the biggest cancer, because they have money, so they feel guilty about it, so they feel like they have to do something for all the poor, stupid black people that are so beneath them and thus can't do anything on their own. What kind of patronizing attitude is that, Karen? But that means that we have to fight violently and vehemently for policies and practices and even just a forced change in behavior such that people in this society will do exactly what we want. Like, it's not good enough that they go, I want, my ideals. It's, I'm going to bully you and everyone else into doing it. You don't see a whole bunch of black people in the streets shrieking for, anti-ICE stuff, because guess who, especially in these big cities, is the biggest victim of these immigrant populations, these illegal alien populations, I should say. It often tends to be black people that are victimized. But especially, it's the women. It's always the women for some reason. I assume that this is because, honestly, I don't have to assume. Women have, in many scientific studies, have long been shown to react to things with feelings and under social pressure by conformance rather than actually, standing for any real principle, rather than thinking for themselves. They have a tendency to go with the flow. And even female conflict management, I've gone over this in another video. The way that women deal with conflict is very different from the way men deal with conflict. It usually involves staying within what seems like acceptable boundaries in your social groups for survival purposes, but then you stab people in the back. And that's kind of the problem. So, I think we need to repeal the 19th Amendment, because as the last 15 or 20 years have shown me, most of my adult life, there's no shortage of self-righteous, mostly affluent, but not necessarily. There's plenty of useful idiots, often white, always liberal, always women, that cause all the problems in this country. And if they are not directly causing the problems, they are setting the policies, or basically they set everything up or bully things into a position such that the problem is caused. For example, would George Floyd have died on that day had he not had access to fentanyl? Now, yeah, I'm blaming fentanyl on women. How am I going to do that? Think about it. You have all of this illegal alien, blah, 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 open borders, blah, blah, blah. Well, where do the drugs come from? The drugs come from other countries. We're not making fentanyl in the United States in giant quantities and then selling it on the black market. It comes in from other countries. And what's the compassionate stance? Oh, everybody has the right to come to America, a 330 million person place. Everybody in the 8 billion person world has the right to come to America and seek a better life, except they're unskilled, they have no money, they have no prospects, they have no future. And they're not making their homes better. So now what you've done, Karen, is you've told them they just come here and shit up this place instead of their place. They need to fix their home, not come into my home and shit it up and make it look more like their old home. And if they want to grow, that's fine and great. But the problem is they start from zero. There has to be somewhere for them to start from here. And if you bring a whole bunch of random people here, there's nowhere for them to start. They all will have to fight each other. You just the crabs in a bucket, man. So, yeah, George Floyd probably died because of policies led by often white, always liberal, always women, that put into place the policies that allowed the drugs in the country, that kept the drugs being sold in black markets on the streets, that keep black people poor, especially in cities, because guess what? They're useful idiots for the rich people that they complain about all the time. They don't think, they react. So yeah, repeal the 19th, because you know what? You can map all of these problems one way or another back to this fake compassion, empathy garbage that always comes from a large subset of women in this country. And the same thing goes for Britain and any other country, any other Western society. There's a reason that women weren't initially allowed to vote, and it had nothing to do with some sort of hatred for women. It is that when put under pressure, men have a tendency to think for themselves, and they'll still go the way that they know is right, whereas women will give into the pressure, and poof, they'll do whatever it is that they have been programmed or have been scared into thinking or have been told is right by several other people. It's just, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I feel like I've stated this case pretty well. I'm sure that a lot of women are going to be pissed off in the comments, but if you watch this far and you're a woman and you disagree with me, I just want you to think about one thing. What would realistically change for you if you couldn't vote? Because if you look at voting blocks, it is specifically women that vote hard left on a lot of issues, and it is specifically hard left policies that fuck women over the hardest. So if you sacrifice your ability to have a say in the composition of the government will no longer be putting in these policies that mean you struggle to have housing, that you struggle to pay for groceries every month, that welfare that you might need as a single mom one day, that doesn't go to some person who showed up here who you have so much compassion for. Because here's the linchpin, okay? Here's where it all seals up. You ladies, all right? You have so much compassion, but then as soon as you're asked, hey, so you want migrants to come here in mass quantities because that's compassionate. How many will you be housing in your house? And how much are you going to write a check for to pay for their bills? Oh, Oh, wait, you mean I have to pay for it? I just thought that a magic government money cloud would pay for it. No, Karen, that's your taxes. No, Karen, that's everybody's tax money. That's those taxes get rolled into the cost of your groceries and so on. Oh, well, I don't want to house them. That someone else will do that. I'm sure there are other people that will do that. I don't want to pay their bills. Someone else will do that. No, the answer is to not have them here in the first place. And this isn't just about immigration. This is about bad public policies and the one voting bloc that always supports bad public policies and has been shown both just through massive amounts of anecdotal evidence that has piled up to a trend called Karen, and even scientific evidence about the fundamental behavioral nature of women. Repeal the 19th. I know a lot of women that actually agree with me and say, yeah, women shouldn't vote. They vote stupid. And think what you will. I'm sure the comments will be horrifying, but I think I made the case pretty clear. And that's it. I got this shithole to clean up. So I gotta go. I gotta go out in the winter storm, and I gotta freeze what is left of my shriveled manhood off. I'll see you guys later, and hopefully no women kill me. Oh boy.